It is so lovely to have you here. Let me get all of this beautifully set up and then we can have a rad and magical time together. Okay. And okay. Right, solid. Okay, so if you haven't been on one of my calls before, the way I set these up is we use the chat box in order to ask questions. And so when you have a question, please write question in capital letters in the chat box and then type your question in after that. And that way I can really quickly go through and see what questions everybody has. Hooray! Oh, I love seeing all your beautiful faces. So type to me in the chat, tell me where you're dialing in from and what you want to get out of today's call, what burning questions you have at the top of your head. I am super happy to talk about anything really. So business, marketing, life, creativity, productivity, writing books, e-courses, anxiety, mental health, neurodivergence. Yay! Hooray! Pronouns, all the things, all the fucking things. Tanya says Santa Fe, New Mexico. Emma is telling you from Southern California. Dorian is in Virginia. Ali's in New Orleans. Oh, that's so rad. Oh, I'm so glad that you're all here. Sarah's in Edinburgh in Scotland. Oh. Angie said the US had a great week. Just had to laugh. Just here to laugh, and Donkey Dicks, of course. Donkey Dicks is the password. Donkey Dicks allows you entrance into the Great Hall of Fame. It's kind of like, you open the door to Narnia, but then you open the wardrobe door to the land of Donkey Dicks instead. That's what you get access to. You're welcome. You're welcome, Angie. How's your book going? Tell me everything. But if you've had a crap week, we can just pretend that we don't have to talk about any of that. We don't have to talk about anything. Dutchie in Sweden. Tammy's in Gabrielle Island on the unceded territory of the First Nation people of, I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry, Snuneymuxw. Let's go with that. Thank you for reminding me. I want to acknowledge that I am on the traditional and unceded territory of the Gubbi Gubbi people, and I want to acknowledge their elders, past, present, and emerging. And I also want to do the same because we're spread out all over the world. I want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land where you are, and honour pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and future as well. All right, away with the questions. And I just realised that I have a little bit of dread. Come, no. Tooth mousse. Fancy it, fancy it. Okay, Tanya said, first question is, how do you manage team, your VA? Do you meet X amount of times per week? Do you send a document with tasks and projects? I want to be able to maximize working with support. I was thinking last night I should do like a short masterclass on, hiring and managing a VA. I'll write it down so I don't forget, because I have a lot to say about this subject. Okay, so here's how we do it. I very rarely have a phone call with her, very rarely, because I don't like that. I don't like phone calls. Zena is a magical and lovely human, but let's not talk. Instead, we chat over Facebook Messenger, just because it's kind of how we got into the habit of things. We've thought about moving to a different service that's just work related, but we just haven't gotten there. At some point we might. We originally didn't start out using project management software. I have in the past, but we just kept it super simple with a straight up to-do list. But then as she started doing more things for me, it was worthwhile to start looking at project management software. So there's a heap out there. I've used Basecamp in the past and Teamwork, and but because she was the one that was going to be using it, like for her the own management of tasks, I said to her, you go have a little testy of all the ones, because they all offer free trials. See what one you like to, like what one makes sense to your brain, and then we'll use that one. So Zeta tried out a bunch of them over the course of a couple of hours, and then she was like, I really like Asana. So we're currently using Asana. So I mean, here's the thing, like project management software, like they all promise the world that it's going to like absolutely revolutionize your day. It's not really. It's just a digital to-do list, which is great, and they all present them in different ways. Cool. So just find one that works for you. But even just a shared Google document would work well as well. You know, you can go super lo-fi, and yeah, then she texts me if she needs more support. The thing I like about Asana is that, you know, you can attach a whole bunch of links and pictures and documents and shit into each project, and then add little subtasks and stuff. So that makes it useful when things get a little bit more complicated. And then you can also have recurring tasks as well. So that's how we roll with that, and it is quite fun. Okay, Tanya says, what does a day in the life of Leonie look like? It depends whether it's a school day or if I've got the kids at home. A school day looks like I get up at 6:30. A couple of times a week I have a call at that time, because it's a good time to talk to Americans. Yay! So I have a call for an hour while my husband gets the kids ready for school, and then we piss off at 7:30 and drive the kids to school, which is about 30 minutes away. And then we run errands together and go for a walk along the river, and come back. We spend some time together and hang out and chat. And then about lunchtime, I usually head to my office and get some work done. And 2:30, we drive to go pick the kids up again, and then we spend the afternoon with them. We have an early dinner at like 5-ish or so. And then we've kind of changed our routine. Usually we would put the kids to bed early at like 6:30 or so and read a book and put them to bed early, even though they're a little bit older. We just like early bedtimes for them. And then we would usually hang out and do Netflix and chill, and if I felt like doing a bit more work, I might do that. But for the last few months, what we've been doing is we've actually just been going to bed at the same time as them. So at 6:30, we roll into bed, and we call it the apartment because we've got quite a large bedroom that very comfortably sleeps 4 of us. And for whatever reason, my eldest kid has wanted, since the pandemic started, has wanted to sleep in our room again, even though she hasn't for years. I'm like, cool, come on in, join the party. And my 6-year-old's never really gotten into the habit of sleeping in her own bedroom. She's got her own mattress in our room. So we call it the apartment, and there's a couch in there, and I don't know, it's sort of like retiring to our little flat for the night, and we hang out in there and we talk shit, and I write and we draw, and the kids read books, and they eventually fall asleep, and then I'm in bed for like 4 hours at night, and it's great. 4 hours before I go to sleep. Yeah. Woo! Woo! So yeah, that's kind of how that rolls. And then if my kids aren't at school, then basically same thing, but we don't have to drive anywhere. Woo! I don't have to wake up at 6:30. Yeah. Wow. We just concentrate on having a really gentle life together. It's nice. Tammy says, my question is, how important is it to have a personal business coach? Have you always had one? Nah. It really depends on personality. For me, what I find is that it doesn't really work for me to always have a personal business coach. There's been specific times when I've wanted a certain bit of information. But I tend to find that the best way for me to get that bit of information is by reading books and taking courses. And that sometimes just having a business coach is an expensive and time-wasting option to get there. But that is purely because of my personality setup, which is very driven anyway. And I also get a little bit shitted off when people tell me what to do. It's like some part of me that's a rebel. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So it really, like, test it, see if it works for you. And of course, it's going to also depend on who that coach is as well. But really work out, like, what is it that I'm needing and what are the ways that I can potentially receive that support. And if a business coach is one of them, awesome. Ali said, I just heard from someone that the only pages I really need on my new website are about, writings, and testimonials, plus lots of list sign-up opportunities. Agree or disagree? It depends on what you're attempting to do, really. Probably it depends on what, and also depends on what you're selling. I'd like to see some kind of shop or work with me page. Like, how do I give you the money? How do I give you the money? Nicole says, I have a couple of courses ready to go. They'll have different starting dates. Do I put them all out there already or keep some on the back burner? Oh, good question. Maybe you could just probably... Well, no, like, honestly, what I would do is I would launch them one by one and sell the absolute shit out of them one by one. That's what I would do. And even if that's like within 2 weeks, so you've got 1 month, you launch that course, and then, a couple of weeks break or a month's break, and then you do another launch for the next thing. Just to really make sure that you're giving the time and attention to selling absolute shit out of the thing that you're selling. Barbara says, how did you grow your business when you were only working part-time? What were your priorities? The same way that I grow my business while I'm still working part-time, because I've never worked on this business full-time. Never. Before I had my business, I worked for the Australian government. I was going to start referring to the recent Australian government scandal in Parliament House and stuff like that. But I won't. I'm going to try and stay on topic, but it's very difficult for me to stay on topic. I just want you all to realize how challenging it is for me to stay on topic and not go into a big old rant about women's rights and equality. So please give a good old to Leonie's attempt at focus. Okay, thank you, my friends. Okay, so my priorities are what they've always been, in that I turn up every single day and I say to myself, what is it I need to do today to grow my business the fastest? Like, what is something that's really going to give traction to it? And then everything else is going to have to go fuck itself. It's really the act of letting everything else, the unimportant stuff, go fuck itself. And this is all, so there's 2 places that I've kind of learned this approach from. The first is the 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. When people say to me, oh, but you only work 10 hours a week. How did you do that? I'm like, you have heard of the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, right? And they're like, well, yeah, but... And I'm like, I just took it fucking literally. And maybe that's the joy of autism. I just took it fucking literally, guys. You too can have a 4-hour work week. I do it in like 10 or so because I'm slack. I gave myself double and a bit the amount of time. So that's a great book. And in his book, he talks about Pareto's principle. So Pareto was an Italian economist, and he noticed like the same statistical anomaly would come up in every situation. So when he looked at the population of, I think it was Italy, he noticed that 20% of the population owned 80% of Italy's landmass, right? And like, let's not like go into a big old eat the reach rant and all that kind of stuff. That's very important. But he was like, right, so 20% has an 80%, 20% causation has an 80% result. And so he started noticing this same number in other places. So for example, in his garden, he noticed that 20% of his pea plants created 80% of his pea harvest. So there's things that are super producers that give you the most amount of your results. So in everything that you're doing today, there are 20% of your activities that are likely giving you 80% of your income or more. So your job as a business owner is to keep on finding that 20% and paying attention to that and doing those things, and then fucking off the rest of the 80%. I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, you all wouldn't blink twice at me if I was working 40-hour week, right? You'd be like, wow, okay, cool. I'm working 25% of a week with 10%. With by working 10 hours a week. I'm working 25% of a week. So therefore, I'm just doing the 25%, that fucking matters, and then fucking off the rest of the bits. And it makes no goddamn difference to my revenue. In fact, it makes more. So you need to become a disciple of Pareto and start looking in your business really systematically and going, what's making me the dosh here? What's not? What are the customers that are making me the dosh? What products are making me the dosh? Where are my traffic sources that are making me the dosh? And most importantly, what are the things that aren't really making me the dosh? So I'll give you an example. And this may be completely different in your business, but I'm going to tell you what's working, what's right for mine, is that I reviewed our traffic sources for the last year, and only 20% of our traffic came from social media, despite the fact that I spent $50,000 on Facebook ads as an experiment, despite the fact that we would have spent at least 80% of our marketing time in social media, despite the fact it felt like a massive focus for us, it was only 20%. So just as there are things which create, those 20% that create 80% of your results, there are things that steal 80% of your time and only bring in 20% of the results. So you need to fuck off those huge time suckers and focus on the stuff that's actually bringing you gold. So when I looked at those statistics, I was like, that makes no sense. Like, that doesn't, like, I feel like I spent a huge amount of my time, not to mention $50,000 fucking dollars, on this malarkey, and the results are nowhere near worth it. And even though it feels a little bit scary to, like, fuck off an income stream, like a very small income stream, 20% income stream, I know that if I create more space for stuff that has a higher impact, then I will greater my increase. You can't maximize things that take 80% of your time and only bring in 20% of your results. Like, that's shit. Just buy the stuff that's 20% that creates 80% of your income. Okay, that was my, I'm so glad we got into a little bit of Italian economic history there. Carrying on, Am says, I am an empath, wondering how to market myself online without having a loud presence on social media. Okay, so here's the thing, right, is that people have had businesses throughout all the ages and marketed them and had huge success with them throughout all the fucking ages since the beginning of time. And now it's only in the last 10 years that, oh my God, no, in order to run a business, you need to have social media. Your business will fail without it. Like, when did it suddenly become compulsory and essential for businesses? Because every other marketing activity out there is completely optional for businesses, and you get to work out what is the right fit for you, for your personality, for your brand. Like, when did this fucking thing become essential? Like, you must. There are still a billion ways to market businesses without social media. And if that's a path that you want to take, cool, go and experiment in that direction. And when I said to my assistant a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I think I'm going to start moving away from social media. She's like, cool. Like, let's make this an experiment. Let's give it 3 months and see how it goes. Let's give it 6 months, see how it goes. We can always return and be like, yeah, sorry, we fucked up. But, you know, like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're just going to have more and more projects to work on. And it will continue growing in its own way. Like, yeah. Social media has never been a huge traffic source for my business. It just hasn't. And I've been railing about it for fucking years and years. In 2014, when I first wrote my W Business program, like, it started off with a rant, like, do not use social media marketing as like your prime way to generate revenue, because it will be ripped off you in an instant. You know, I've got friends who've built up to like 400,000 Facebook fans, and because the algorithm changed, they're like, it's worth nothing. Like, it's worth nothing. I can't do shit with it now. I can get no traction with it now. So is that like, is the shifting sands of time like a really good place for you to build your castle? No, your mailing list is a great way to build your castle, because you own that forever and you can move that, and that data belongs to you, but you don't get shit when it's on social media. So also, I did link in a blog post a few weeks ago about Alexandra Franzen has quite a few things that she talks about, like marketing your business without social media. She even brought out a new list of things to do with it, you know, marketing your business without social media. Marketing is still very fucking important, but you get to choose where you take that. And of course, guys, I will let you know if my experiment fails colossally. I'll let you know for sure. You'll be the first one to hear about it. Do I think it will? No. Do I think it's going to fail? No. I'll let you know how I go. I'll let you know what I experience along the way and what works in building a business offline. But remember, only 20% of my traffic came from fucking social media, despite spending $50,000 on Facebook ads. Okay. Emma says, oh, wait, I'm going to just mute myself for a second so I can have a nice little cough. There's this Noosa cough that's going around at the moment. We've all got it. It's not COVID, I promise you. I'm in Australia. But yeah, we've all got this like a packet a day smokers. Okay, Emma says, the best way to use a book as a lead generator. Should I have a web page to send them to from the book? Big time. And that book should have multiple references to pull people over onto your list. If you've got 40 days to finish your book, I'll have a big section on there in there about it. But you want to have free worksheets that people have to sign up to and multiple references in your book about it. You want to have like even like a free video training course or something that's like a great companion to the product that people feel like, oh yeah, I fucking need that. I fucking need that. They go to a website and become a lead on that front, and sign up. And a lot of people will say, oh, put the receipt in or the invoice number or the barcode or what the fuck ever in there to prove that you got a copy of the book. There's no way of checking that, by the way, guys. You could just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you get access to every person's free book stuff. It probably wouldn't make much sense though without the fucking book. I did see Cal Newport, and yes, I am a fucking Rabbit fangirl. Thank you for noticing. Obsessive personality alert. He has a new book out called A World Without Email or some shit. And I noticed that if you pre-ordered his book, you would get a free video training. So you pre-order the book wherever, and then you enter into it's got give me your name, your email, and your receipt for where you've bought the book. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I pre-ordered this fucking book though, guys, because I'm obsessed, and I'm such a good girl at heart. Like I would never try and scam a system. But I'm just letting you know this so that if you're like, but how do I check the invoice numbers? It's going to take me all day. No, you can't. Just let everyone have access. Yes. And anyway, for his, when you sign up, you get a free video training that goes through the whole book as well. I thought that is super sexy and very cool. So Cal Newport for the win. Very obsessed. Highly recommend his books. Okay. What's the best way you have found to self-publish your planners? Oh, my friends, gather around. Let us circle. Let us circle. Let us circle. Because I have tried all the motherfucking things now. I have tried all the motherfucking things. So I've done print on demand through Lulu. I've done print on demand through Amazon and their Kindle Direct Publishing service. I have printed the books through China and had warehouses in 3 different countries to send them all out. I've then got a publishing deal through Ben Bella Publishing. Then I went back to self-publishing because I like money. And I make more money through self-publishing. And then this year we did an experiment where we tried doing a different kind of print-on-demand model where people would buy through us, through our Shopify site. And so we set up with an automatic integration to Lulu Express and Printful. And they would, when we got your orders, and they would print the book and send it out to you. And I thought that might be awesome because then I get everybody's email addresses that signed up, and we would be able to offer spiral binding. Spoiler alert, it was not fun. It was fucking not fun because it meant that, one, I'm very happy with how the books turned out, and I love everyone's experience of them. Yay, that makes me so happy. From an administrative point of view, though, it fucking sucked for multiple reasons, including the fact that, one, because we got over 35 orders a day, usually, we couldn't get them automatically paying because you can put in your credit card details, right? And then for every order that comes in, Lulu will charge your card for the books, for the printing of the books. So you get the profit, but then they charge you, you get the profit of the whole order, but then they charge your card. Because we're getting more than that, it would max out my credit card because in Australia, I could only have 35 transactions. And they were constantly treating it as a scammer. And so we had to manually process every order, which was taking about an hour every day. And then for anyone who had any shipping orders or shipping issues or whatever, they would email us. And then we would have to try and work with Lulu to sort out printing issues and work out where shipping stuff and tracking and all that kind of stuff. And it was an enormous customer service load, enormous. So my customer service, my assistant has been doing customer service emails about 4 hours a day for the last 5 months on the books. And of course, it completely fucking burned her out, as it does with anyone. She was like, a few weeks ago, she was like, I don't feel so good. And I was like, oh, darling, welcome to customer service burnout party. And this is completely normal. And everybody who's ever gone through workbook season has ever experienced this. So that was part of the challenging parts of it, is just the amount of time it took for my assistant to manage all of this stuff. It was really fucking tricky. And so when we took into the account like all the amount of hours that I've had to pay her to manage this whole process, and the amount of hours that she could have been working on something else, it was an enormous, like it was just nowhere near as profitable as I would need it to be in order for it to be such a huge focus for us. So next year we'll just go back to printing on demand through Amazon. Sorry guys, I know you like just spiral planning, but it's not worth our sanity for 5 months in order to give you a fucking spiral planning. I love you, and I hope you understand that. So, after 11 years, I'm still saying that Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing Service is the best one. And you can come at me with Jeff Bezos is evil and human rights violations, and I'll be like, yes, and it's still the best one out there. Okay. What's the best way of filling my Facebook group with challenge people for my 5-day challenge? I'm launching a 7-week course of it. You just need to tell people all the fucking places to go there, like every fucking email. Have you joined? 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 And then I would also add FOMO into that by screenshotting conversations out of it and getting people and going like, oh, like today's question in the group was blah. And people are like, oh, what am I missing out on? So that's what I would do. Sophie says, how's the no phone going? Are you sleeping better? Sophie is fucking amazing. It's fucking amazing. It's life-changing. Do I look different? Because I feel different. I feel different inside out. I feel like I have my life back. I feel like my life has changed. I would like to clarify, I still use my phone, but I use it for Messenger to text my best friend and text my sister. But there's nothing on there that's interesting. So it's not a really big part of my day. And plus it was never really, for me, it was the social media part that was the really addictive, just like keep scrolling, keep looking at other people's lives, living their best life while I sit here like an idiot. So yeah, fucking amazing. Like highly recommend it. I'm not going back. I'll have my end of challenge email come out maybe this week or next week. Exciting. Exciting. Tanya says, I love your honesty and sharing. Thanks for sharing about them sleeping with you so I don't feel so guilty about our sleeping arrangements. Why would you feel guilty about being a loving and caring mother? Why would you feel guilty about doing what our children have done throughout all of history? Sophie, hi Sophie's kid. Yeah. Hot tip, guys. Do you think when we all lived in fucking caves that we all had separate caves to sleep in? No. We slept in a fucking pile like puppies because we are mammals and we are herd animals, and that's where safety is. And especially when the world's a little bit stressful, we're gonna just, what do they call, circle wagons together. Our kids build their energy systems and their nervous systems off ours. And so the more time they can be in your presence and just keep it cool, the better it is for everyone. Yeah, I've got no fucking shame about it. And plus I am friends with the uber hippies guys. I've got friends whose kids slept in their room till they were 14, 15, and then they wanted to move out. Who gives a fuck? Family rooms are awesome. And I remember when I was an exchange student in Malaysia, everybody's in Malaysia, every family just slept in a family room. Like, it wasn't till they're all like, you know, late teens that they were like, maybe I'll sleep in my own room tonight. Like, you know, everyone's like puppies. It's awesome. It's fucking awesome. And I don't want to like, and also like, I want to acknowledge the fact that sometimes it's better for kids to be sleeping in their own rooms. Like Beth, for a long period of time, did not want to sleep anywhere near us. Like when she was like 2, she was like, leave me alone in a darkened cave by myself, because this is where I find inner peace. And then it changed. And then she was like, no, I'd like to sleep at the bottom of your bed on my mattress. Cool, whatever, I don't care. Just cool. Whatever gives us all sleep, I am a big fan of. What I have found, and like it might be an autism thing or it might be just a thing, I don't love how, well, I really enjoy when I get to snuggle with my kids in bed with me, but not the whole night long. No, 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 please, no, 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 no. It's sort of like somebody like puts a charger in me that just sucks all of my life force out of me for the next day. I need to have like zero touching in order for me to replenish my well and sleep in my own little cocoon in order for me to be a sane and present human. So that's where co-sleeping with babies probably wasn't like super effective. I should have just like, you know, slept with them in the room, but not in my space. So it's just testing and seeing what works for you. Addie says, can you speak about other business models that aren't dependent on being a visible personality or attractive character that works to become seen, known, and recognizable? No, I don't have my camera on. You're so cute. Sure, there are a billion ways to build a business, and most of them are not about personality or attractive character, are they? There's really few that are about the actual person. The rest of businesses are, the business has its own brand and it decides how it wants to show up and help people, reach people, connect with people. And that can be in a billion different ways. So yeah, like all of the ways. This is just one specific way. And I remember when the Dalai Lama came to Canberra and we went to go see him in concert. I would like to say like I'm really fucking bummed that like he said some really misogynistic stuff in the last year. Like fuck. I'm really happy with having an ugly female Dalai Lama. Thank you. Your ass looks like, your face looks like a butt too. Like could you just like meditate further on that before you open your fucking mouth? Hey, cheers, boo. But I deeply love and respect you so fucking much. I feel quite cross about this. So if I could just like be able to talk about things with things not being a sign of the patriarchy or white supremacy, that would be amazing. It'd be fucking amazing. Anyway, apart from that one bullshit thing that he has said, he said some incredibly wise things that have helped billions of people around the globe, and I'm very grateful for that. So I will forgive him because people make mistakes, and I hope he's meditated further on that, or been cancelled. Okay, so he was in conversation with a Muslim like elder in their community and a Jewish person, like Jewish elder in the community as well. And somebody said, oh, you know, I was raised Catholic, but I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do. Should I become Buddhist in order to like, you know, become more spiritual? And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, do whatever. Like, you don't have to be Tibetan Buddhist. You don't have to be anything. There are 6 billion paths up the mountain to God, and you get to choose what path is the right one for you. And just the imagery of that really resonated with me. Like there are 7 billion paths up the mountain to God. We don't have to all follow the same one. And the same in living your life. You get to do your path like as one of 7 billion paths up the mountain. When it comes to crafting your business, you get to do it as one of 7 billion paths up the mountain. There's not one way up the mountain. Okay, Tanya says, question. I have my 7-year-old girl at home because of the pandemic, and we're homeschooling while I'm also trying to run my business, and I feel like I'm working too hard. What tips do you have to be there? What tips do you have to be able to be there as a mum with her and still run the business in an easy way? Okay, so I feel like I need to like update everyone, because I'm talking to a lot of people still in America who are trying so hard to like get their kids to do homeschooling during this time. What I would recommend, and it's completely up to you, is that I recommend ditching online schooling and trying to follow your school's curriculum. That's what I'd really recommend doing. And I would recommend an unschooling approach, especially during a pandemic. And what an unschooling approach is that you are looking for ways for your kid to stay happy and enthusiastic about learning, because that's actually the most important thing in the world. And that's going to serve them for the rest of their life. And so it's okay if they're going to be like behind on some things, because that's the nature of life. And they are going to grow in ways that you just don't even see, because kids have these huge developments. So just when you least expect it. But what's really important is that you give them the time to find what they're interested in and then learn about that thing that they're really interested in. So for us, when we went into quarantine in Australia, my kids are at alternative school, and they're very happy when they're there in person. And then, of course, they brought out the online schooling, which was a very shit version. And I'm not saying that's part of like the school. I think like all schools struggled with how to create a learning environment online. It's tricky unless you've already had years and years of experience in that. And plus, I think it's a lot trickier for kids. And so my kids, they tried it for a day, and then they couldn't sleep that night. And I was like, oh no. And so we tried a few different things that week to see how we could make it work. And then we're like, this is just not going to work for us. This won't work for us at all. And so I said to the teachers and the principal, we really love you guys. Like, we so appreciate the work that you're doing, and like, it's like so amazing. And having been homeschoolers in the past, we know that it's not going to work for us as a family. We want to keep our kids happy and enthusiastic, put their mental health first, because we can't learn anything if we're strung out and anxious and depressed and depleted and all that kind of stuff. And we also need a thing that's going to be sustainable for us as parents to manage, because if we don't, we are going to really fuck some shit up. Like, we're going to fuck some shit up. So what we're going to do is just do interest-led learning instead. And so we kind of moved into more unschooling and did like a little bit of structured work each day, but also didn't as well. And what I noticed is, because we're now kind of on the other side of quarantine and the experience, and I noticed that there was a lot of kids who kind of had resentment at the school, for having to go through that online learning experience, or, resentment to their teachers or whatever. And this isn't just at our school. This is I'm talking kind of with all my friends and with their kids in all different experiences. They just weren't happy with what they'd just been through. Of fucking course, nobody's happy with going through a quarantine and having to be locked at home. But I noticed that my kids were pretty happy and enthusiastic to get back into learning again, because they hadn't been pushed so hard to complete a lot of stuff they really didn't want to do. And so they just run with it. And one of my kids has got a new teacher this year, and I met up with him. Was like, hey, how's it going? Like, any concerns? He's like, no, your kid is so loves learning, and all she does is shadow me all day long, asking if she can sit in with lessons that I'm giving to other kids. That because she just wants to learn everything in sight. She's just like, let me take it in, because she finds it fascinating and interesting. Because we haven't drummed the absolute shit out of like the love of learning for her. We protected it. We protected her mental health. We protected her love for learning as our number one priority through the pandemic. So that's why I want to say, parents, is like, it's impossible to do a billion jobs at once. It's impossible to really like manage your kids' online schooling experience and still run businesses and have a job and have a life and have sanity and all that stuff. And honestly, I think unschooling is the right remedy for that situation. Okay, I could talk about that for hours. There are lots of unschooling resources out there. Austin Kleon, the blogger, has talked about how he's gone with an unschooling model with his kids since pandemic started. This is a process that's been a movement that's been in the works for 50 years now. And I have friends who are adult unschoolers, and they are amazing, smart humans. So it fucking works. It fucking works. Actually, I hired somebody who is an unschooler, has never been to school, never been forced to do anything in her life. By far, one of the hardest workers, the most self-initiator, like just would see what needs doing and just do it. And she was really young, and just amazingly creative, but practical and phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And other people who worked with her on that project were like, wow, she's really cool. So it fucking works, guys. It fucking works. Okay. Tammy says, what this business coach offers is a 2-week intensive about visibility and messaging marketing plans. So 2 weeks feels doable if I can deep dive, get the goods, implement them, and then and there, and have some good content to run with for a long while too. I'm a rebel. I kind of want to be told what to do, and then I resist it when it happens. That sounds like a fucking dream. That sounds awesome. Yeah, test it out, see how it works. Tanya Vassallo says, can you speak a bit about growing a 7-figure business with team versus just on your own and just a VA with more personal profit? Yeah, absolutely. There's actually a book that's just been released about it. Here it is. I was telling someone about it the other day. The $1 Million One-Person Business. I'm not super creative in this. There's other people who've written about it. Elaine Pofelt, and it's basically case studies of people who've done exactly the same thing. Mostly, a lot of them have kind of I think have probably followed a bit of a 4-hour work week approach. For me, I've always found it just me and an assistant is more than enough to run a $1 million company. And it was when we started going into 2 millions and 3 millions that is that having more of a team, but it's pretty fucking easy to streamline things and keep it sorted. So it's just $1 million company with one person. Woo! Emma says, I'm loving a 10-hour work week too. Oh, it's the greatest. And guys, if you want to know, how do I work less? Cut your hours down. And then you'll really fucking quickly go, oh shit, this is the important stuff. Everything else will go fuck itself. Tammy says, best Leonie quote on my wall, busy work can go fuck itself. It really can. It really can go fuck itself, guys. Let it go fuck itself. Tanya says, do you do all your art by hand or iPad? And if it's iPad, what software? Absolutely. I've got a podcast episode about it where I go into a bit more detail about how I create digital art on my iPad. And if you Google Leonie Dawson digital art iPad, you'll find the podcast episode and the notes from it. I use all my digital art. It's pretty much all digital art now.
I have an iPad and I have an Apple Pen. The Apple Pen is the critical part here because other styluses are fucking shit. They're so fucking shit and they will make you hate life. So the Apple Pen is really it's the one. And then I use the Procreate app on the iPad. It's phenomenal. That's where I do all of my digital art and I love, love, love it. And that's what most professional artists use on their iPad. I also use GoodNotes on my iPad for taking notes, and you can put PDFs in there and highlight it and take notes and stuff like that. But for digital art, it's Procreate. Oh, and by the way, I did buy like the iPad after I got really obsessed. I got the iPad Pro Max, which is like the big one, the 12.7 inch. And I do feel like a little bit bad about this, but whatever, I'll forgive myself. Is that it's just a bit too big. It's a bit too big for me. Size apparently does matter. It's just not as portable. And so I'm just using my basic bitch iPad for all my digital art, unless I'm doing like a big binge or I'm doing all of the workbook stuff or whatever, then I'll fire up the old 12.7 inch. But like when people are like, what one should I get? Should I get the bigger one? Is bigger better? I'm like, not really. They basically just do the same thing. But the smaller one's easier to manage. Woo! Okay. Question, where was the 80% of your traffic coming from, if not social media, email list or something else? Good question. It was a combination of a bunch of different things. Organic traffic, so people just typing in Leonie Dawson because they've heard about me from somewhere or they already know about me. Search engine traffic, so people have searched for a specific term, and then so like there's quite a few posts on my website that are search engine optimized. So for example, I've had one post that I did 2013 about a specific topic that I did a little bit of search engine optimization for, like very basic bare bit shit. And it now gets like it's the top performer every single year. And like so I just get a shit ton of traffic that way. So search engine stuff is great when you can think about what keywords you want to use and then kind of optimize it a little bit. And there's lots and lots of resources out there about search engine optimization. Email list is big. And my affiliate referral program wasn't a huge amount. I think it's only about 5% of the traffic, but I like that to continue to grow. Yeah, those kinds of ways. Guess what, guys? There's a lot of ways for people to find your website and to find you without social media. Social media is not the be all and end all. Tanya says, time suckers, 80-20% rule. Does this mean then that you track a lot of stuff to know about the 80-20? I mean, that's one way of doing it. If that works for you, I'm not a tracker. That would make me want to like stab myself in the face with a cucumber. So no, thank you. No. Instead, like, I don't know, just shorten your work hours and just feel like that mad pulse of like, I need to make money. I need to make money. I need to make money. Oh God, how am I going to do that now? Oh, that's the actually important thing. Right. I'll do that. And then I'll kill off the rest of the stuff. I don't know, just make your blood pulse a little harder with the deadline approach of needing to make money with less time. I don't know. Is that useful? Okay. How are you managing no screen time for your kids? I want to set this for foundation for my 7-year-old and love following you. Oh, okay. So my kids do have screen time, but they don't have social media time. It's very different. And so we have a certain so screen time. They usually don't get any screen time during the week, except when we're watching a bit of TV together. We have okay, here we go. We've only got 6 minutes left, but that's fine. I feel like this is important enough to say, we are not a family who sits around the table for dinner every night because I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. There is nothing that makes me hate my life more than sitting around the table at dinner time. Like, I don't know what childhood regression I go into, but I fucking hate it. What I really want to do is be left alone so I can eat in peace, and maybe read a book while I do it. That's where we're at, guys. And guess what? My kids are actually really lovely humans and they're very connected to us and hasn't affected our family life whatsoever. And I've been doing this now for a decade. So what we usually do is we'll either sit on the couch and eat and just talk shit, or one of us, like some of us is reading or whatever while we do it. Or we usually sit in front of the TV, sit in the TV and eat while we watch TV together, and we have a TV show that we like to watch together. So we went and watched Alone for a while. That was amazing. And then we liked watching like The Great British Bake Off. And it's just like a little fucking highlight. We really love the Australian TV show Travel Guides, which is so dumb and so hilarious. And it's a fun connection point. So whatever. So my kids have that. And then on the weekends, they're allowed to, in the afternoons, they can have a couple of hours of, they can play Minecraft or Star Stables on their computer, or they can play some games on their iPad. That's how we manage that. What are your top ways of marketing your business? Free content. Okay, I've only got like 4 minutes left, so I'm going to see how quickly I can answer as many questions as possible. Free content. How did your ClickFunnels experiment turn out? Still using it? Something else? Ugh, hated it. No. Just went back to Kajabi. Make it simple. In Kajabi, can you link a URL with your opt-in page, or do you have to use the exact URL created by Kajabi? If you can you explain how to do it? Don't know what that means, but use their free chat service because it's super helpful. Do you think you'll cover non-social media marketing ideas in your selling course? Yes, because we're not talking about any social media in the selling course. We're talking about sales pages and copywriting, which is really fucking important for you to make money. Anne was saying, who was the author again? Alexander. It's Alexandra. It's a female. R-A. Well, I don't know. No, I think I know their pronouns. It's she, I think. Alexandra Franzen. Franzen. How did you start selling or marketing your planners? What's your best chilling method of marketing and finding new customers? If you've got my 40 days to finish your book course, there's a big book marketing masterclass in there that covers all of that. Basically, my whole idea of a marketing plan is get out a piece of paper. A piece of paper solves everything. Right on the first page, where do my people hang out? The people that would really fucking love this thing. And then on the other side of the paper go, how can I reach them? How can I get in contact with them? How can they find out about me? And then just like brainstorm all the ideas, and then cross all those fuckers off. There you go, the one-page marketing plan. It solves everything. It's what I've been using for the last decade, is a piece of fucking paper with 2 questions on it. Am says your skin's glowing or rosy. It is, isn't it? It's the joy of inner peace and contentment from not having to look at other people's shit all day and instead just read quality things, which are really useful, and also just regaining, like remembering to just look at the fucking sky and stuff. Tony says, do you read books or blogs on your phone or Kindle, iPad? Do you allocate time for reading or phone usage? I read everything on my Kindle because you want to limit the amount of distractions as much as possible. So definitely, if you can have a device that is only for reading, that's very useful. And plus, it's not backlit in the same ways that a iPad or a phone is, and so your eyes are not going to fuck up as much. Tenny says, can you repeat the name of the book, please? Can't remember which book. Can you describe a little bit more for me, and then I'll ensure it. Okay, given your no social media experiment, will you be keeping your Facebook groups open? Are they good places to connect with others who are on the same path? Great question. We are still noodling that question and working out how we're going to do that. I think for the sales course, The sales course, we are going to do a Facebook community. Not Facebook community. We are going to do a Kajabi community. So Kajabi offers you the ability to create a forum. So we'll create that for the 5 weeks that the course is open and see how that goes as an experiment. Is that the book you're looking for, Tanya? Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks, Sophie. Solving all the problems one step at a time by Elaine Pofelt. Also another book, great book, and I recommend all of her books, Chillpreneur by Denise Duffield Thomas. She hates the cover too. Don't worry, we all fucking hate the cover. I've had one person say, oh, I just think that cover's amazing. I'm like, not even Denise think that cover is good. Denise was really upset about that cover, but it's cool. I would much prefer to see her face on it. She's so beautiful, and it's she's such an original chillpreneur. Angie said, I heard about you from DDT stuff. Oh, that's awesome. And like, I think like me and DDT have known each other for so long. She came to a coaching retreat I did in 2012, so it's nearly 10 years ago. I can't wait to go to one of her coaching retreats at the Rose Farm. They'd be amazing. But yeah, she's so phenomenal, and she totally walks her talk and continues to evolve and grow into the next level of herself. She's just phenomenal. Okay, Tanya says, Leonie, you rock. Thanks for sharing everything. I'm looking forward to Sales Star class next week. It's going to be awesome. So for anyone who hasn't already, leoniedawson.com/sell, we're beginning next week with the sales masterclass. I regard that is like, this is going to be a pivotal and essential part, like e-course, one of my programs. So like when people come to me, like, how do I'm like, shush, Sales Star. It's what you need. Otherwise I'm not talking about nothing, because it's such an important skill to master, and such an integral part of business success is nailing the sales pages, nailing your copywriting, nailing you converting people into doing the thing that you're asking them to do, and doing it in a way so that they can they get what you're talking about, and they get how your stuff is going to help them. All right, my loves, this has been so much fun. If you've got follow-up questions, please email support@leoniedawson.com. Otherwise, I'll see you in leoniedawson.com/sell next week. And let's continue making our miracles happen, hey? Sending you so much love. Let's go make our miracles happen.